guys, welcome back. We're going to do an update on the 180 gallon reef today. So we're about 2 months into the recovery process of making this tank look good again. If you look back previous videos, this tank was in pretty sad shape about 2 months ago, and I really started putting some effort into getting it back in shape, put it back on track. So as you can see, the algae is pretty much gone. It's not 100% yet, but this is night and day compared to what it was just a few short weeks ago. The tank was completely covered, but it's doing much better now. So there's still in spots, little patches of algae that have been hard to get to. But for the most part, the main problem is gone. So I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. I was considering putting some fluconazole in here to kind of knock out the rest of it, but I don't know if that'll be necessary. I'll give it a couple more weeks, and if some stubborn patches still remain, maybe I'll try that. But for the most part, everything is doing pretty good. Next main problem I need to tackle is aptasia. It is like out of control in this tank. You can see it on the rocks there. But honestly, it's not quite as bad as it was a few weeks ago. I was just looking back at some other videos, and man, some of these aptasia were huge back then, and maybe there were more of them. So what I've been doing for that, well, what I tried to do, so I'll just tell you real quick. When I decided to start fixing things in the tank, first thing I decided to try and do to fight the aptasia was I bought a copper band butterfly fish. I brought him home, had him acclimated, kept him in a little acclimation box for a couple of days. None of the other fish really paid attention to him, so I figured, okay, well, released him into the tank, and I figured he would have plenty of aptasia to eat, and he'd just get along just fine. I don't know. At first, the fish kind of ignored him, but then they kind of, took interest in him, as they do any new fish. And he ended up hiding behind the rocks, and I could see him back there for, a week or so. And then one day I just didn't see him anymore. So I guess he just died back there. So that was the end of that. So the next thing I decided to do was try aptasia eating filefish. So I put an order into Live Aquaria, and I ordered 2 of them. And I also ordered the algae blenny, which he was just over here a minute ago. I don't know if he's still back there. See him? He's the guy. Oops, sorry. He's the guy that disappeared into my sump. So anyway, the aptasia eating filefish, the package showed up, and the aptasia eating filefish both arrived, dead on arrival. So that was a disappointment. So didn't get them. Did get my algae blenny, and he made it in here, and he was fine for a few days, and then he disappeared. Luckily, he just reappeared the other day in the sump, so I'm glad he's still around. But that still left me with the problem for the aptasia. So the third thing I tried was I did order some Bergia nudibranchs. So I bought 12 of them, ordered them online. They were delivered, and they were alive, thank goodness. And then I put them into the tank, but they showed up. They were so tiny. I mean, they were like the size of a grain of rice, and I only had 12 of them, for this entire tank with some monster aptasia. But I did put them in here, and I did release them into this little zoa garden, I guess. Now, that spot there was pretty similar to this one. You could see all the aptasia kind of hidden in between the polyps. This one's all closed up right now because somebody was messing with it. But anyway, this one was pretty similar, and it had aptasia in there, and I put the things in here. over the course of the next few weeks, pretty much all of those Aptasias started disappearing. So I knew they must have been working, but these things were really hard to actually find, in the tank once I put them in here. But over the course of the next few weeks, I did see them, and I did actually capture them, munching on some Aptasia at times. And I did notice that they were getting bigger. So I knew that they were growing, and for a couple of months, I would every once in a while see them in here. But it's been quite a few weeks since I've seen one in person. So I don't know if they're still in here or if maybe the fish ate them. Maybe that wrasse right there, who knows. But anyway, maybe they're still in here, and I was hoping by now there would be like a huge population of them. I was hoping they would, start to breed and they'd be in here. So maybe they are. I can't really tell. Unless I actually see them, I don't know if they're in here. So they could still be working away, and I'm just not noticing it because, they've got a lot of work to do. So anyway, that's where I'm at. My next plan is I would like to get some peppermint shrimp. I know they'll also eat Aptasia, but for some reason they're like almost impossible to find right now, where I am. And the ones I do see online are like pretty expensive, more than I think they should be. So I don't know, I'm just going to hold out until they become available locally again, and then I'll throw a few of them in here and see if they can help out. And in the meantime, I'm hoping that the nudibranchs are still active in here. And I've also been using, a couple of times I've dosed, not really dosed, but I've used the Aptasia X. You could squirt that with a syringe right into the Aptasia, and it does work. If you get it right in the mouth, it can kill one of these things, but sometimes it'll mostly kill it, and then after a few weeks it'll come right back, so you have to do it again. And it will work if you can get to all of the Aptasias, but there are some that you'll just never be able to get to, or they'll be in a position where the solution will just fall right off of them, so you won't really be able to get them all that way. But certainly it's part of the plan, so I'm going to be doing that again every so often, just to try and help out the other critters. One other thing that I did try and do, and I would suggest don't ever try that, it was a waste of money. I bought one of those lasers, those blue lasers that say that they're good for zapping Aptasia. I got one on Amazon. It was like, I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks or something. It didn't do anything. Complete waste of money. So that is something I would not recommend. So yeah, then the plan is to maybe find, if I could find an Aptasian filefish locally, I will get one of them. Find some peppermint shrimp, they'll go in here, and keep using the Aptasia X and see what we can accomplish with that. I guess that's the plan for that. Everything else seems to be doing okay. I mean, the corals are definitely looking happier than they have in a while. I'm starting to notice things growing again rather than slowly dying, so that's good. And I've actually bought a few new frags, which was the first time I've bought frags in quite a long time, so I was happy to start getting some new stuff in here. And I'll continue to put some stuff in there next time I go out to the fish store, probably pick up a few more things. So yeah, things are doing pretty good. I don't know what happened here on this Montipora. Looks like something was like dragged across there and like scraped it up. The only thing I could think of is maybe the sea urchin. Sometimes they get a little bit aggressive. I'm thinking that crawled across there and kind of munched up that Montipora maybe. Because all the other ones are doing perfect. It was just that one. It looks like something got dragged across there, so it was kind of strange. It just appeared overnight. As far as fish, all seem to be doing pretty good. And I do see some spots of cyanobacteria, and I think that's just kind of a result of all of the other changes that have been happening in here, fighting the algae and algae dying off, and cyanobacteria is probably eating up whatever the algae used to be eating, or maybe feeding on the remains of the dead algae, who knows. But it's not really much of an issue. It's just in spots, and I could deal with that. And I think that'll eventually resolve itself on its own once the water quality keeps improving. And I guess that's about it for today's update. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.